Hey guys, my name is Ryan, and welcome to Overwatch Central. I have a really good feeling about this Lunar event, the Chinese New Year, because there was another skin for Hanzo, and it's actually pretty good. We'll go over the Reaper skin too, and also a few more details about the Overwatch League, which clearly aren't as important as some Dynasty Warriors inspired skins. Okay, well, Battle of the Three Kingdoms kind of stuff. This is the Huang Zhong Hanzo skin, beautiful as ever, makes a lot of sense because I do know that he was very famous for being a really good archer and served under Liu Bei. Of course, I'm actually a pretty big Dynasty Warriors fan, and considering we had Reaper Lu Bu, which we'll go over in a second, makes me do think on there's certain characters and well-known people from the Battle of the Three Kingdoms that we could see. Guan Yu maybe, potentially, I'm not too sure. Also, seeing as we're talking about Dynasty Warriors, what kind of factions did people play? I was definitely a Wei person. I think Zhang He was one of my favourite characters of all time. But that's beside the point. This is the second skin that we've seen, so let's look at the first that we didn't cover yesterday. Then of course we had the Lu Bu skin that came out for Reaper late last night, so late that we missed it completely, but as a big Dynasty Warriors fan, I know there's about 6 of us, I really like the skin, I hope to see more. This make me think of other Dynasty Warriors characters and if they could be in it too. Obviously they're not based off Dynasty Warriors characters, they're based off the actual Lu Bu, but you get my point. Really nice skin, can't wait to get it in none of my loot boxes. Next up, I want to talk about the next patch, and there's some pretty important information here regarding the Overwatch League. Now, before you decide to turn off going, I don't care about the Overwatch League, I don't care about the pros, it does give us a good indication of how the meta is going to be for quite some time, if that makes sense. Because the news that came out from Nate Nanza is basically saying the PTR patch currently will be the first patch for Stage 1 Overwatch League and will be the live client when we go into that part of the season, which is like sort of mid-February. As I mentioned during the Pro Pugs last week, our goal is to better align Overwatch League patches with what's live in the game. Stage 1 of Overwatch League 2019 season will be played on the patch currently on the PTR. Now this is important to note because it basically says that Blizzard have no intention of adding more patches on the PTR to better counter GOATs, Brigitte, D.Va, any of that. It seems that what they have at the moment they're quite happy with, and that's controversial for a number of different reasons. We've of course spoken to Jane on this channel. There's still a Jane video to go out by the time that this video goes out itself, where he will talk about the fact that whilst GOATs is played the majority of the time, at least from his perspective, there are a lot more avenues and different ways that you might be able to counter, and it might become very map dependent. On this topic, Monte Cristo, one of the casters, said beware of Overwatch Chicken Littles telling you that the sky is falling on the meta for Stage 1. It will take a lot of trial and error in practice to define the meta. Jake, the Houston Outlaws pro player and of course caster, says spoiler, GOATs is 75% on the PTR, and he says that that's even an extremely conservative estimate. He also says that he hasn't seen anything remotely close to being as consistent as Free. Minor variations such as having an Ana instead of a Zenyatta or Winston instead of a Reinhardt are there to work against these counter strategies the majority of the time. An example of an anti-GOATs composition is basically what Fusion University ran against Atlanta Academy in the grand finals of NA Contenders. It consisted of heroes like Pharah that can fight from a distance, and also Sombra being able to just, hack certain targets, break apart this team, EMP being a great ultimate to clear up team fights. But even then, Fusion University have to switch off of it in order to bring this map back. My point is that all of these anti-GOAT strategies that are out here to try and break down the meta and become the new one have either failed completely, or small iterations such as a Winston instead of a Rein or an Ana instead of a Zenyatta have done their job to quell that anti-GOATs comp. It signifies that there's not going to be any additions to this PTR patch. For example, some more changes to Reaper or Roadhog, maybe a buff to Reinhardt in a sense, it's not going to be added into that PTR patch. What we have there is going to go to the live client sometime soon, in like a week or 2 from now, and that patch will be the one that Overwatch League, Stage 1 at least, is played on in its entirety. And considering that Overwatch League Season 2 starts on Valentine's Day, the 14th of Feb, it means that we might not get a new PTR patch for a full month. That's not to say that there won't be any PTR patches throughout late February, early March, especially with Hero 30 going into the game at some point too, around that time. So that's just to sort of be clear on what is going on currently. I feel it was worth mentioning even if you don't care about the Overwatch League, because it gives us a good insight into the future of Overwatch and its meta, the patches that may be going out. I do feel that Blizzard think that in this patch are the answers to counter GOATs and to remove it being such a strong universal meta. But let me know what you think of that. If you were to guess how much of the Overwatch League will be played as GOATs, I'm guessing 70%, 65%, more than most, but not all of the time. It also depends on the map draft that Overwatch League has. If you have maps like Rialto and Kings Row, then yes, you're going to see a lot of goats. If you have Gibraltar and maybe Dorado, that's where we might see a little bit of variety, but who really knows at this point? Next up, I wanted to take some snippets from an interview from Jeff Yamamoto talking to Custa about hero bans. We can sum it up really quickly, as I said I don't want to stay here for too long. Custa goes on to say that hero bans would add diversity to the game and break the current concept of meta, which involves the same 6-7 heroes being picked every map, by both teams due to one strategy being overpowered. The hero pool for Overwatch is currently quite low to implement hero bans, and hence I would only like one ban in a pool to avoid problems of banning something that has no direct alternative, such as all of the main tanks. As the hero pool increases, the number of bans should increase. I really didn't like the argument that Jeff Goodman had on hero bans saying, well, it means that JJoNak won't be able to play Zenyatta. And it's kind of like, that's the point. No player in the Overwatch League should be a one-trick. Even though JJoNak is good on Zenyatta, he should be able to play other heroes. I feel like it's a really dismissive argument. And Custa goes over somewhat similar in this. What happens when D.Va is banned on maps? She's so heavily ingrained in how the meta works, and people have expressed how much the game is balanced just around her. Custa says that's the whole point of a banning system. Teams being able to take things out of the game that are viewed as integral. This will allow teams and players to think differently than one-dimensionally like right now. The fact that some people have been playing only one character for the last year and a half is actually ridiculous when you think about it in a large hero pool strategy game. Again, with hero bans, we've spoken about it a hell of a lot, so I don't want to go on for too long here, but again, what do you guys think? I want to know what you want to sort of see from hero bans in the future in the comments below. With that said, I'm going to finish it here. Of course, we have some stuff from the Year of the Pig event that's happening next week. I'm very excited for it. I hope it's not just a rehashed event, so hopefully we get to see some other bits and pieces. That new map should be coming around soon too, for competitive and stuff at least, so maybe it comes in with that, who knows. Thanks for watching, take care, we'll see you next time.